She called me. She actually called me. The woman sleeping with my husband picked up the phone, dialed my number, and waited for me to answer, just so she could rub it in my face. What she didn't know was that I had been ready for this call for 3 weeks. My name is Diane. I'm 38 years old. I live in Columbus, Ohio, and for 11 years, I believed I had a good marriage. Not a perfect one, no marriages, but a real one. Built on trust, built on history, built on the kind of quiet love that doesn't need to announce itself. My husband, Marcus, was the kind of man people described as dependable. Steady job in project management. Coached our son's little league team on weekends. Remembered my mother's birthday every single year without being reminded. On paper, model husband. We had a son together, Jake, 9 years old, a mortgage, 2 dogs, and a life I had genuinely worked hard to build alongside this man. Then about 8 months ago something shifted. And women, you know that feeling. You don't need proof yet. You just know. The phone starts going face down on the counter. The gym schedule gets longer. The way he laughs at a text message and then clears his throat and sets the phone aside like nothing happened. I noticed. I said nothing. Not yet. I started quietly paying attention. Her name, as I would soon find out, was Renee. She was 31, worked in Marcus's office building, and from everything I could piece together, she believed she was in a full-blown love story. She thought she was the main character. She was not. For 2 months I gathered information silently. I wasn't snooping out of insecurity. I was building a case. I'm a paralegal. I know how documentation works. I know how evidence works. And I knew that when the moment came, I needed to be untouchable. I found the texts. I found the emails. I found a receipt for a weekend hotel stay in Cincinnati. A weekend Marcus told me was a work conference. I photographed everything. I organized it into folders. I contacted a family law attorney named Patricia, and she told me exactly what I needed and exactly what I was entitled to under Ohio law. Then I waited, patiently. Meanwhile, Marcus had no idea. I kept our home running normally. I made dinner. I helped Jake with his homework. I smiled across the table at the man I was quietly, methodically preparing to dismantle in a courtroom if necessary. Some people ask me, how did you do it? How did you keep it together? And honestly, anger is a very clean fuel when you know how to use it. About 3 weeks before Renee's infamous phone call, I sat down with Patricia and we finalized everything. Papers were drawn up. A separation agreement was drafted. Marcus didn't know yet because the timing had to be right. We were waiting on one final financial document that would protect Jake's college fund from being touched in the proceedings. That document arrived on a Tuesday. The following Thursday, Renee called. I was in my kitchen, pouring my morning coffee, when my phone rang from an unknown number. I almost let it go to voicemail. I almost didn't answer. But something told me, pick it up. Is this Diane? The voice was bright, almost cheerful, confident in a way that made my stomach turn. It is, I said. Calm. Steady. This is Renee. I think you know who I am. I said nothing. I let the silence sit. She filled it. She told me that she and Marcus were in love, that he had been unhappy for years, that she wasn't calling to be cruel. Those were her words. She was calling because she thought I deserved to know the truth. That Marcus had confided in her things he'd never told me, that their connection was something rare. She talked for almost 4 full minutes. For minutes. I held the phone to my ear and I sipped my coffee and I let her talk. When she finally paused, waiting for me to cry, or yell, or beg, I took one slow breath. And I said, Renee, I appreciate the call. Truly. And I need you to know. The divorce papers were filed yesterday morning. Silence. Marcus was served at his office at 9 a.m. His access to our joint accounts was frozen at 9:15. And the documentation I've compiled over the last 2 months, including every hotel receipt, every text thread, and a very detailed timeline, has already been submitted to my attorney. I paused. You have a good day now. And I hung up. But here's where the story takes a turn even I didn't fully expect. Within an hour of my call with Renee, Marcus was blowing up my phone. Panicked. The version of Marcus I had never seen before, the mask completely gone. He showed up at the house that evening, and for the first time in our entire marriage, he was shaking. He admitted everything. Not because he was sorry, because he was scared. Because he realized the woman he thought was quietly falling apart at home had been 3 steps ahead of him the entire time. And then came the part that genuinely knocked the wind out of me. Renee, sweet, confident Renee, had apparently called Marcus immediately after hanging up with me. And in that conversation, a few things came out, including the fact that Marcus had told her we had a prenuptial agreement that would leave me with almost nothing. There was no prenuptial agreement. He had lied to her about that, completely fabricated it, strung her along with the idea that leaving me would be easy and consequence-free. She had called me to gloat over a life she didn't fully understand. He had used her as much as he had used me, just differently. The affair didn't survive the divorce proceedings. Renee stopped returning Marcus's calls somewhere around week 3 of depositions. When reality showed up, when it wasn't romantic or secret anymore, when it was just paperwork and lawyers and consequences, the love story evaporated. The divorce was finalized 5 months later. I was awarded the house, primary custody of Jake, and a settlement that fairly reflected 11 years of a shared life. Marcus got a 1-bedroom apartment 20 minutes away, and a very expensive lesson. Jake is doing well. Kids are resilient in ways that humble you. He sees his dad on weekends, and I've made a point never to speak badly about Marcus in front of him. Not because Marcus deserves that grace, but because Jake does. As for me, I went back to school part-time. I'm studying for my bar exam. Patricia, my attorney, told me I had good instincts and a steady head under pressure. She wasn't wrong. If this story leaves you with anything, let it be this. First, your silence is not your weakness. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing while you prepare everything. Second, people who underestimate you will always hand you the advantage. Let them. And third, the person who seems like they're winning in chapter 3 has no idea how the book ends. Stay in your story long enough to write the last page yourself. If Diane's story hit you somewhere deep, if it reminded you that grace and strength can exist in the same person, smash that like button right now. It genuinely helps this channel more than you know. Subscribe to Betrayal Shadows and turn on your notifications, because every week we bring you real stories about real people who refuse to stay down. And drop a comment below. What would you have said on that phone call? I read every single one. See you in the next story.